After 5 years plus, I realized these 3 patterns repeat every single week on gold. In this video, I will teach you how to trade the most spotted pattern on gold. Now, when you learn how to trade these 3 patterns, I promise you, your trading would go from 0 to 100. Remember, when it comes to trading, no matter how accurate your strategy is, always make sure you respect risk management. Let's head to the class so that I will tell you about them. Alright, so let's talk about the 3 gold trading patterns that will change your life. After I'm done talking about them here, then we would go back into the charts and what? Once we're done talking about them here, then we'll go back into the charts and spot them. Then I'll teach you guys how everything that we've talked about will relate into the chart, okay? So just pay attention. And make sure you watch this video till the end, because once you skip this video, you might miss an information. Now, 3 gold powerful patterns. All right, the first one is what? Is the wedge. Okay? Now, the second one is what? Inverse head and what? And shoulder. Then the third one, what do you think the third one will be? If the first one is wedge, the second one is inverse head and shoulder, the third one is what? Double top. Okay? Now I know most of you know when I talk about wedge, there are 2 types of wedge, which is what? The rising wedge and what? And the falling wedge. Now let's dive deep into that one. Now, take for example, this is the resistance of your chart, right? And this is the support, right? Good. Now, when the market push like this, and you see this, what is this trying to tell you? This is what? This is a falling wedge. And what does a falling wedge signifies? It signifies what? Continuation. Now, this market was actually bullish, right? It created what? A higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, continued pushing to the upside. Then when it got to the middle of the chart, you notice some form of consolidation to the downside. Now, that is what we refer to as what? A falling wedge. Whenever you spot this, it will likely continue to move in that direction. There is a 98% chance, especially when the market is bullish. Always remember this, when you're trading gold, if the market is bullish, only look forward to what? Falling wedge. And when the market is bearish, you should look forward to what? Rising wedge. Remember, this is for if the market is what? Bullish. Now, let's check if the market is bearish. As usual, this is your resistance. And this is your what? This is your support. Okay? Now, the market is bearish. What do you call this? You call this what? A rising wedge. And this leads to what? A continuation. When the market is what? When the market is bearish. Now, the reason why you find out most people are not profitable trading wedge is because most people just trade wedge whenever they spot it. But when you start trading wedge smartly, you would notice that the way you view the market changes. Only when the market is bullish should you be looking for a falling wedge. If you see a rising wedge when the market is bullish, don't trade it. Do you understand? If you see a falling wedge when the market is bearish, don't trade it. Example, the market is like this. It's selling, right? Then what do you now start seeing? You now start seeing a falling wedge. Now, immediately you start seeing this falling wedge because it is not rising. Remember, if it's rising, it will be pushing to the upside like this, right? But since it is not rising, it is falling, you will say, oh, this market is exhausted. It will break out now and start pushing. All of a sudden, immediately you enter the chart, what would you notice? Another dump would continue. The market was trying to trap you. Do you understand? This market was trying to trap you. Now, if you rush and go and place a buy here because you think the market is exhausted, you will lose your money. So remember, only trade falling wedge when the market is bullish, and only trade rising wedge when the market is bearish. I promise you, you would go from 0 to 100, especially your win rates. Now, I recently just sent a signal to my group. We're currently in profits. We're actually selling USD JPY. So you can see that we're still in profit at the moment, and we'll continue holding the trade to see how far this market would continue to what? Would continue to sell. All right, let me go back. Now, let's go back to what I talked about. Now, we're done with what? We're done with the wedge. Now, let's move to the next one, inverse head and shoulder. Now, when it comes to inverse head and shoulder, this is your resistance. Okay? And this is your what? This is your support. Now, you only want to trade inverse head and shoulder. Listen to me carefully. You only want to trade inverse head and shoulder when you spot it at a minor demand zone or support. Minor demand or support, not at the middle of the charts. Now, this is your support level. If you see this, what do? You buy the markets. Let's say your minor demand is located here. Then you see this. What do? You buy the markets. Always make sure you're using this inverse head and shoulder, which looks like this, whenever the market is what? At a minor demand or at a support level. All my students know how to use supply and demand. For those of you that have been asking, you want to join my mentorship, we're already closed for the year until next year, February. So just join my free Telegram channel, take advantage of the free signals I share, use it to make money to enjoy your Christmas, and next year, we'll go back into the class, all right? Now, let's come back here. Remember, only look for inverse head and shoulder when the market is at what? At a support or at a minor demand level or at a key level. If that market is not at a key level, not at a minor demand level, not at a support level, please, I'm begging you, don't buy. Now, let's go back. Now, finally, the double top. Now, when it comes to gold, we all know gold is a bullish market. Do you understand? Gold is a bullish market. So whenever you spot double top, the market will always go back to clear those top. Example, let's say you notice gold was consolidating, moving sideways, right? Then you marked the top, you marked the bottom. Then what happened? The market dumped down to clear liquidity. Then the market pushed back up, came back to retest the consolidation box, continued moving. Then the market ended up creating a double top. Now, when you see a double top here, right? Remember, this market was actually moving from this side. This is where your support or your minor demand is located, right? And this is where your resistance or supply zone is located. Now, immediately you notice this market was actually bullish. Then the market started consolidating. Then the market dipped down to clear what? Liquidity that were built up here, right? Then the market pushed back to the upside, came back to test here, went back up, then gave you a double top. What you want to do is to wait for that market to retrace back to this zone. Immediately you start spotting consolidation, start buying the markets. Why would you buy the market? Because there are liquidities resting here. What did I say? There are liquidity what? Resting here. So you buy the market back to this top, then you take a sell back to the downside. This is how you trade smartly. You see these three patterns, they will change your life. Now let's go to the charts. As usual, what's the first thing to do? As usual, what was the first thing to do? Let me see if some of you still remember. We'll head to our 1 hour time frame, correct? Or we'll go to our daily time frame. Now let's go to the daily time frame. These are our daily time frame, right? Now we're currently at the daily time frame. Let's reload the screen. We're currently at our daily time frame. Let's go to gold. This is gold. Now, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to draw your support and resistance. Very, very important. Always draw your support and resistance. So don't tell yourself that you've gone past this level. Why will you be drawing support and resistance? It will help you. Things that you cannot spot with your normal eyes. When you're done drawing your support and resistance, you'll notice those things are easier to spot. This is your daily, right? Then what do? You move to your 4 hour. Now you're in your 4 hour time frame. So we want to see if all these things that we've learned, if they actually work. Now pay attention to what's going on here. Let's start from here. Okay? Now number one, gold tapped into this zone here and it created a major supply and we saw a huge drop to the downside. Then what happened? It created a double top, right? Now whenever you see double top, 1, 2, you know this market will come back to clear the high. I have explained it before coming here. This is it, right? Good. Now let's go back. Now immediately the market created a double top because you know gold is a bullish market. So you're not scared because you know the market will go back to clear those highs. Then we saw a huge drop to the downside. Then what happened? The market started consolidating. All of a sudden, boom. To what? To clear the high here. Very simple, right? Good. Now we move to the next level. Now, while this market was actually selling, you spotted a wedge. 1, 2. Now, if you're not sure if this is a wedge, what do? You move to your 1 hour time frame. Why are you moving to your 1 hour time frame? So that you would get clarity. Remember, we only use 1 hour time frame for what? For refinement. Now, when you come to your 1 hour time frame, what would you see? You see that it's a perfect wedge. But on your 4 hour, it looked a bit conjoined. Then we go back to our 4 hour time frame. Now we're back to our 4 hour time frame. Then the market what? The market broke below the support. Now the market is struggling to go back into the support key level. And what have you spotted? Inverse head and shoulder. 1, the head, and this. This is what it looks like. So long as the left or the right shoulder does not exceed the head, the market is what? Printing an inverse head and shoulder. All you need to do is to what? Look for a buy around this left shoulder. Very simple, very straightforward. Now you've bought this market back to the upside, right? Now immediately this market pushed back to the upside, the market came back to respect the main support zone. Remember at this point here, the market broke away from what? The market broke away from the support. Then the market broke back into the support. Now let's say you miss this trade, you miss this one, you miss this trade, you miss this one, there's another opportunity. Where is the opportunity? This is it. Another what? Another inverse head and shoulder. And what happened? We saw a huge push to the upside. Now immediately this market was pushing to the upside at the middle of the charts. At the middle of the chart, which is this point, because this is our resistance, this is our support, this is the middle of the chart. At the middle of the chart, what can you spot? Double top. Okay? At the middle of the chart, what can you spot over there? Double top. 1 and what? And 2. Now, whenever you spot double top like this, you can actually call it what? An equal high. Because they are actually what? Flat-headed. Now, the market then dipped down. But don't forget, you know that this market is bullish. And you're seeing double top. From what I actually taught you guys, what would you be looking forward to? You'll be looking forward to what? A wedge formation. Now, remember, when a market is bullish, you should only look for what? You should only look for what? Falling wedge, not rising wedge. You only look for rising wedge when the market is bearish. But if that market is bullish, you should only look for falling wedge. Now, why are you looking for rising wedge? You look for rising wedge when the market is bearish. How would you know the market is bearish? It has tapped into your supply zone or your key level on your daily resistance. Now, this market is now giving you a wedge here. This is a false wedge because it's supposed to tempt you to continue selling. Meanwhile, you're supposed to be doing the opposite. Immediately you spotted this wedge, you should know that you should be looking for more buy to what? To go clear this liquidity that were created at this double top. And immediately what happened? Boom, the market went to clear this liquidity. Back to this point, I explained it here when I was talking about what? When I was talking about this. Remember, when you see falling wedge, you should only trade it on the bullish market. When you see rising wedge, you should only trade it on the bearish market. Anything else that you see, always make sure you want to know the trend of that market. If the market is bullish and you see a rising wedge, of course you should continue buying. Don't be scared and say you want to sell because the market is not bearish. Always take note. Now back to this point. Now let's move, okay? Now you can actually spot what? A very big inverse head and shoulder here at your support, which is very valid, okay? Very, very valid. And what happened? The market continued pushing, got to this zone, got to this point here. We knew the market was actually bearish at this point because the market dipped into here, went back here. It did not tap into our supply. So it came back to test here. Immediately the market tested here. What happened? We saw a huge drop to the downside. Now, as we saw this huge drop, you can classify this huge drop as a what? As a push to the upside, a consolidation, then more push to the upside. Very, very simple. When you learn to trade this three pattern, wedge, inverse head and shoulder, double top, you always know the market will go back to clear the liquidity. You trade it smartly. Not how you were taught to trade it, but how you learned from sniper. Remember, we are snipers. We don't rush the market. We wait for the market to come to us. Make sure you're part of my Telegram channel because we're about to make crazy money before December. I remain Oko Anthony Uche, also known as Tony Sniper. Remember, I don't offer investments. Peace.